Portal season is here. It's in full swing. The Florida Gators, in my humble opinion, need to make an acquisition at quarterback. AR said, you know what? Thanks so much, Gainesville. I'm going to go ahead and take my talents to the professional level, make millions of dollars, and who can blame him? He's a special talent. Had a little bit of an up and down year this past season, but I think I know Gator fans wish AR the best. So now you look to your current roster. And my question would be, do you believe Jack Miller or Jaden Rashada is the guy to lead you to what you expect 2023 to be in year 2 under Billy Napier? As I already mentioned, I have my own reservations. So I'm going to give you a couple of names, a little bit of intel to what I think Florida should do when it comes to the quarterback position within the transfer portal. The number one guy that the Florida Gators need to go after is NC State transfer quarterback Devin Leary. Now, Devin Leary had a ton of NFL buzz coming into the 2022 season. Season didn't really go the way he wanted to. He got injured. But in 2021, 35 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Extremely efficient. He is in the portal right now, the most proven commodity. The hope would be if you get Devin Leary on your roster, you can plug him in immediately and make your offense substantially better. There's no betting when it comes to Devin Leary. Some of these guys, it's an upside thing. Maybe they were in a different situation. You could be more successful in Billy Napier's system. With Devin Leary, there's no question marks around him. You get him in your system and you are substantially better on day one. So for the Florida Gators, make Devin Leary say no. They've already been in contact. There's been some communication back and forth. Don't have a whole lot more than that right now. Besides, there's a little bit of smoke there. So that's good. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But right now, smoke is all we got on Devin Leary. He should be your number one guy on the board. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, we'd love to have you at the party. It's portal season. Turning up the heat. Bowl games around the corner. Recruiting season. Signing day is almost here. We want you here. We got college football content 12 months out of the year on the Hard Count and on the On3 YouTube channel. So if you haven't joined us yet, we'd love to have you. The water's fine. Thank you to all the Florida Gator faithful that have already joined us. It's been thousands of you throughout the course of the season. So glad to have you. Also, really quickly, follow me on the socials at JD Piquel on Twitter and on Instagram. Another guy that I think Florida needs to go after in the transfer portal, if you can't get Devin Leary, Austin Reed from Western Kentucky. Now, he's actually from the state of Florida, which could be a little bit of a selling point for Austin Reed. He threw 36 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So a little bit of a gunslinger mentality. But when I say gunslinger, you got to be able to sling it around to have that kind of labeling. Dude's got a really big arm. Ball jumps out of his hands. He is very much so in that NFL mold. Right around 6'2", 230 pounds. So a big frame, big arm, a lot of tools. And the bet with him is the upside / potential. He transferred from Western Florida to Western Kentucky, won a D2 national title, took his talents to the FBS level at Group of 5, did really well there, as I had already mentioned by reading off his stats. The dude can sling it. But the hope is, okay, he's continuing to trend upward. Maybe he's still blooming. What happens if you get him to the best level of college football in the Southeastern Conference and put other phenomenal talent around him? How good could he be? We've seen great things so far, but is there even more that comes with Austin Reed? The upside, the potential is what really gets you excited about Austin Reed if you're the Florida Gators. So again, I think Devin Leary is number one, but if you can't get Devin Leary, Austin Reed would be the next guy that I would really look to go after if I'm Florida. Like I said, he's an in-state talent, so you would imagine there would be a little bit of an easier process in getting, to sell him to come to Gainesville. We'll see what happens there, but Austin Reed, a guy that I'm really excited about wherever he ends up, but for the Florida Gators, a guy I would pursue. Now, here's an interesting one. Graham Mertz from Wisconsin. He visited Florida. He is the number 9 portal quarterback, according to On3. And at Wisconsin, he was a little bit streaky. 38 touchdowns, 26 interceptions, but he has that NFL size. Came really highly recruited out of high school, was a 4-star, 6'3", 216. So the thought with Graham Mertz is, what if he was just in the wrong system at Wisconsin? What if he just wasn't in a situation to succeed? You know the deal with Wisconsin. You know how they run their offense. It's a heavy set, a lot of tight ends, a lot of fullbacks. Doesn't really cater to a system where a quarterback is able to just sit back there and throw the ball around the yard. Not really a quarterback-friendly system, if you're catching my drift here. So if you were to make Graham Mertz your selection from this portal class, the thought would have to be, well, we know what he was at Wisconsin, but we see the tools that we can plug and play in our system. So your thought then is it's more about what Wisconsin was for him than what Graham Mertz was. I think it's a risk. It's not my first choice. I don't believe it's the first choice for Florida Gator fans. We're going to keep an eye on it. But again, the smoke with him taking that visit is just a little bit interesting. So far be it for me to question Billy Napier, but Graham Mertz would not be the way that I would go. Still someone that you need to take account for in this whole portal class, given that he did take a visit to Florida. Last guy I'm looking at, and this is one that I think could end up being the sleeper of this whole quarterback transfer portal class, Hudson Card from Texas. Now, he's a dual threat quarterback, a 4-star out of high school, consistent, right around 65% over his 22 games that he played at Texas. And the word that comes to mind when I talk about Hudson Card, wherever you plug him in at, whether it's Florida, whether it's Notre Dame, stability. Hudson Card, to me, checks a lot of the needs for Florida, maybe doesn't check all of the wants. Like, you want someone that has freakish athleticism or is extremely proven, like a Devin Leary, or just has off-the-charts numbers from wherever he's coming from. It's not Hudson Card. Small sample size, a little bit of experience, consistent thrower, and good athleticism. He's a dual threat. He's what you need at Florida. He checks the need boxes. And so we'll see what happens with his recruitment. I haven't heard a ton in terms of communication between the two or any smoke around his recruitment. I'm just saying Hudson Card, I think, could be a really serviceable fit for Florida going forward. Like, if you get Hudson Card in your system at Florida, I think he would be successful. I don't think he's AR, but I think he would allow Florida to be better next year than they were this year, if that makes sense. As the program matures and as Billy Napier installs his culture, like, I think Hudson Card would be a steady hand and be a stable option for whatever you get next year in Gainesville. And here's why this is so important to me. I've already said, I don't think Jaden Rashada next year at least is your answer. I don't think Jack Miller next year is your answer. We'll see how he does in the bowl game. I'd love to be wrong on that. Don't feel like I am. If you don't get the guy at quarterback, I think you risk going 6-6 again next year. Because with how good this roster is, the quarterback is still a big part of what they do offensively. It's not one of those systems where you can just kind of hide the quarterback and allow him to sort of just be a small piece and, you know, have other talented guys do the dirty work. Billy Napier, having been a former college quarterback himself, that's how his system rolls. We go as the quarterback goes. And the real, I guess, issue I would have if they don't get a guy in the transfer portal to be their quarterback is all the talent around them in this system and in this offense. We'll see what Ricky Pearsall does, but you have two of the best backs in the country in Trevor Etienne and Montrell Johnson, guys that averaged right around 6 yards a carry together. You have some pieces. You have a lot of potential on this roster. To waste that by not having the right guy behind center, I think that's a wasted year if I'm Billy Napier and I'm the staff. I think they know that. There's a reason why they have so many people in polos in that team picture from this past year, because they understand talent acquisition is the name of the game. But getting a transfer portal quarterback, I think, is at the top of their list. So Devin Leary, my top choice. Austin Reed, a guy that I'd be really excited about if I'm a Florida Gator fan. Graham Mertz from Wisconsin, a little bit of smoke. We'll see what happens. Not my first choice, but you would bet then on his situation being better at Florida than it was at Wisconsin, and that being the difference maker. The stable option to me is Hudson Card. So those are the guys that you got to keep an eye on. Those are some of the intel tidbits and some of the breakdowns that I like with these guys, but we'll keep an eye on it. I promise you, when they get somebody committed, we will have a breakdown. We'll have our thoughts on it. It'll be a real good time. So make sure you're locked in. Make sure you are subscribed. Portal season, it's here, y'all. Glad to have you a part of it. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.